The cooking plate outlives every other part on a Blackstone. The battery igniter dies first. And that's number 1 on this teardown. I bought a weathered 5-year-old off Marketplace for $60 and stood it next to a brand new one. Then I cut both of them apart, and almost nothing on this griddle is built to the same standard as the surface you cook on. The plate is the one part they can't fake, so they cheap out on everything bolted around it. 7 of those corners are worth showing you. We'll walk the 7 parts they built down to a price. Then the one size actually worth buying, and the $20 trick that brings a rusted plate back from the dead. You know the sound already. Click, 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 and no flame. On both units I opened, the igniter is a cheap push button with a thin metal needle and a single battery behind it. That needle sits bent toward the burner port. Griddle repair guides trace most ignition failures to it drifting a couple millimeters out of position. It's a stamped part doing the cheapest possible job. And here's the honest part I won't hide from you. A dead igniter is a minor annoyance, nothing more. You light the burner with a match in 2 seconds and cook like nothing happened. But it tells you exactly where the money went, and it wasn't here. The replacement costs a few dollars, but you'll buy that part more than once. Keep that theme in mind, because every part today repeats it. Flip to the back and look at the grease system next. The newer builds drain to a rear trough and a little cup that clips underneath. The older ones drained out the front. Either way, on the 5-year-old, that trough was the single rustiest spot on the whole machine. Grease, plus moisture plus bare steel sitting in a low channel, is a corrosion trap. And when that cup overflows unnoticed, the runoff pools and rusts the frame below it. The seasoned plate 2 inches above it was black and healthy, but the grease channel below was flaking orange. Same steel, opposite outcome purely because of the job they gave each piece. I personally think it's the worst designed part on the unit. Now the frame. The cart, the legs, the shelves. It's powder-coated steel, and powder coat chips. Once it chips, water creeps under the coating. Then the leg rusts from the inside out where you can't spot it early. On the old one, a caster had seized solid. One leg had rot climbing up from the foot. The side shelves had surface rust freckling every scratch. The cart was dying faster than the cooktop it was holding up. But the warranty won't save you there. Most of these carry a 1-year limited warranty, long expired by the time any of this shows. Lift the plate off, and you find the burner tubes. These are thin stamped steel, not the heavy cast burners on a serious grill. 2 things go wrong with them. Spiders crawl into the venturi openings and web them shut. That chokes the gas and fakes the exact symptoms of a dead regulator. And the tubes corrode from the underside, the one place nobody ever inspects. The parts are cheap, and aftermarket sellers stock them by the crate for a reason. But you are replacing them, and more than once, across 5 years. Here's where the steel itself starts to matter. Flip the plate over and study how the underside supports are attached. Small tack welds, not a continuous seam. Those little welds are the first thing to crack. And once they let go, thin steel is free to move. Shock a screaming hot thin plate with cold water, and it can cup and bow right in the middle. That is not a cooking mistake. It's a materials outcome. It's also why so many used ones photograph with a warped, wavy surface. Remember that word? Thin. It comes back in about 90 seconds. Before the big one. The myth they're happy to let you believe. That black surface is not a magic factory coating that guards the metal forever. A new plate ships with a rust-preventing film you're meant to burn off. Then, you build the real seasoning yourself. Seasoning is just oil heated past its smoke point until it polymerizes into a hard layer. It's the same chemistry that hardens cast iron. It delays rust, but it does not stop it. This is bare carbon steel with no chromium in it. That's the entire reason it rusts when stainless wouldn't. And no, you don't need flaxseed oil, and you don't need to chase every last smoke point like a chemist. That part is folklore, and it's worth ignoring. Now the one the whole video is built on. The steel gauge. Blackstone's own spec sheet on the flagship top calls it 7-gauge rolled carbon steel. 7-gauge should measure about 1/1800ths of an inch under a caliper, but put a caliper on a lot of these plates and you don't get 1/1800ths. You land closer to 1/8 of an inch. That's nearer 11-gauge than 7. And here's what that thickness actually buys you. It's not better seasoning, and it's not more flavor. It's thermal mass. A thicker plate holds heat when you drop a cold patty on it, and it resists warping. So a thinner plate recovers slower and cups easier. That's the connect the dots moment. The cracking welds, the warping, the cup in the middle, all of it traces back to a plate reading thinner than the box implies. So measure your own. I'm not asking you to trust me, I'm asking you to trust your calipers. And steel thickness is the one number nobody at the store explains. It's the first thing I dug into for the Griddle guide. Anyway, back to it. So that's 7 parts built down to a price. But the point was never to scare you off griddles. And yes, I just spent 10 minutes taking this thing apart. So hear me out, because here's the twist that makes the whole teardown worth it. The plate itself. The one part they couldn't fake is genuinely durable. Steel is steel. That 5-year-old cooking surface outlasted a dead igniter and a rusted grease trough. It outlasted a rotted leg and corroded burners. And after $20 of work, it cooked identically to the brand new one. So here's the fix, because a rusted Blackstone plate is not scrap. You grab a grill stone or a pumice block, a couple of bucks, and scrub the rust down to gray metal. You can hit the heavy spots with coarse sandpaper if you need to. Then you wash it, dry it bone dry, and re-season with any high smoke point oil. Avocado, canola, grapeseed, your call. A bag of grill stones and a bottle of oil runs about $20, and the plate comes back to life. One safety line though, don't pour chemical rust removers on a cooking surface, strip it mechanically, then oil it, and it's food safe again. So which one should you actually buy? For most people, the value pick is the 36-inch 4-burner original. It's the size the enthusiast forums keep landing on. 4 heat zones, real room to cook, and the cheapest way into that footprint. But here's the honest caveat. It's the same cold-rolled steel and the same battery igniter as the rest of the line. You're buying surface area, not better metal. What I'd skip is the air fryer combo units and the app-connected models. You're paying a premium for a screen and a fryer drawer that owners gripe about, and it's bolted onto the exact same griddle. Stepping up to the premium series buys you trim, not thickness. The plate underneath tells the same story every time. And before someone types it in the comments, yes, Camp Chef and Pit Boss and Traeger's Flat Rock all exist. Weber makes a griddle line too. They're mostly cold-rolled steel as well, imported from the same broad supply base, same rust rules, same seasoning chemistry, same physics. And Weber and Blackstone are literally one company now. They combined back in May of 2025, with the Blackstone founder running the whole thing. So don't pay a fat premium expecting a different kind of metal. You're buying the same steel, wearing a different badge. Here's the one thing to carry out of this. The cooking surface is the part that lasts, and it's the part you can always bring back. Everything else is a wear item you can fix for pocket change. A rusted griddle sitting on Marketplace for $50 is not junk. It's a good plate wearing 5 years of neglect, and now you know how to strip it, season it, and run it like new. You're not the one getting screwed at the register anymore, because now you know exactly which part you were paying for. Nobody sponsors me, and nobody pays me to name a brand. That's how the Griddle Guide happened. Steel thickness, and the brands that last. The seller swore mine was barely used. I bought the rust anyway. One wrong griddle is hundreds gone. This one's $19.99. You got today's answer free either way. Links in the description and pinned. And if one battery igniter bothers you, wait until you find out what's actually inside the bag of pellets you feed your smoker. That teardown is next. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so click it. And if you made it to the end, subscribe.